Jeff.
Okay, thank you. I want to talk to you about how to split the pie. So I'm going to get started. It's going to get the Q&A as fast as possible. Okay, good. It's a little stretched here. But, so like Carl said, at the beginning, you own everything. You and your founders, you got everything. And that sounds just terrific. If you could just sell it at that time, you're done. But as soon as you raise the Series A, and I'm kind of skipping Angel, but it kind of ends up that, you end up with, possibly, the 30% rate right now. And none of these percentages really matter because what you're looking for is where you're heading, what kind of company you're building, and how big this pie is going to become. Because I think everybody in this room would love to have 1% of Facebook, wouldn't you? So it doesn't matter. 30% of Facebook would be fabulous, but I'll take 1. So this pie can go big, or it can go small and shrink and disappear. So when you're thinking about equity and dividing equity, you should be thinking about everything you do with your cash as well when you have that, and your equity is how do I make the pie bigger? That should be your sole focus, not get too hung up on how to divide it up. But at any given time, you have to be thoughtful about how to do this. So, so your entire focus from today, this is like now, till you sell your company or go public, or even after you go public, you still have to work there, you have to grow the pie. And it never stops. Especially if you go public, then it's just worse. Instead of having Carl show up every month, you've got Wall Street showing up every 3 months. And they will rip you to shreds. Carl will look like just a walk in the park. And, it's a good idea to start early. So the single most important thing, and there's a couple of single most important things, but the really big one is before you spend your 8 years, the costing is like 8, 10, whatever years on anything, and forego your personal life, the bars, the kids, all that stuff, you have to know what product you're building for what market. If you're a technical founder, guys with the red, the blue thing, or the red, sorry, you're looking for blue. So you are basically, you may have a great idea, just the most amazing bread slicer. But if there's no market for that, you're just wasting your time. You may love your iPhone or Facebook, and you go, I'm going to build a mobile social application that just a huge amount of money. But if you don't have the right product for that, you're going to get nothing. So you have to get these two things right. You got to think about solving a relatively large problem for a very, very, very large market. When I say a large market, I'm talking about a market that's worth in the billions of dollars. And that billion is getting bigger. The next thing you should do is, like I said, you have 2 pieces of assets. At first, all you have is equity. For Trovix, the company I started with another co-founder and we sold, we really just had equity. I mean, we had even no money in the bank at the time. We picked some bad stocks. Everything went away. It was 2001. September 11 happened. It was just as bad as it gets. But there's a lot of folks available looking for positions, and we for 3 years, which is kind of unbelievable, we took just equity. We got a lawyer, we formed the company, and we doled out equity to, I probably had about 15 people work for just equity. So my dad calls and says, would you ever work for somebody for no money? I'm like, I don't know, but they are. And I'm like, I don't know the answer, but they're doing it. And I said, he said, because why? Because, well, I guess we have a good idea, and they really like us. It's just basically you got chemistry, and you got a gun for a big market with a big idea, and we basically sign people up. Now, all those people are pretty happy. So is my dad, because it was a good exit, and I borrowed money from him too. And so eventually you get, to raise money, if you're looking to do that, and then cash becomes extremely valuable. So when you're trying to manage the 2, they're both very valuable. Don't think just because you have 10 million shares printed out that you could just give them out. And don't think just because you raised $5 or $10 million, you could just dole it out. So the way you want to use your cash and equity is to pick people. It's like Mission Impossible. You got those dossiers. You're looking through the files. You got who's going to be my front man, who's going to run the electrical. You're basically trying to do that. And you're going to be doing that from the first day you choose your co-founder to the last day till you sell your company or go public. You have to always pick every single seat that you keep to fill. You have to think about putting the right person in. And the different people have different philosophy. I leave the seat empty if I can't find the right person. Yes, things go slower, but my cash is not burning. My equity is not burning. So Carl shows up and I say, well, we still have a lot of money in the bank. We haven't gotten where we got, but who I've got is just fantastic. And then we find people who fill it in. Other people just go big bang and roll the dice. And it's just my philosophy. I just don't like that. Just like you pick the team. The team is not just your employees. It's the partners. It's the advisors. It's the board members. It's everybody that's going to get you to that big pie. And probably the single most focus you should have after you got these things right, you pick the product, you pick the market, you're managing your cash and money, is to every day wake up and just execute. That could mean, change your plan if you have to, but do it smartly because you picked the right people. You should be able to navigate. Things will change. Competitors will come. The climate will change. But you have to execute. And nothing should get in the way of execution. So going back to the pie, you've got a couple of constituents to take care of. So we'll start with the founders. These are my opinions. Actually, everything is my opinion here. So nothing is official. But 2 would be an ideal set of founders. You get a business founder and a technical founder if you're doing a tech company. If you have an idea that's mostly business, you can do 2 business. Or if it's just pure technical, you can pull a Google. It's possible. It's been done, but they needed Eric Schmidt to actually run that ship. And investors will help you there. So there's other ways to do it. No matter what, one of the founders absolutely, in my opinion, has to be a business founder. Because, like I said, you can have a great idea, no market, you're dead. Somebody has to think about who's going to buy this product, how are we going to sell this product, how am I going to build a sales team and a marketing team. You have to think about that. And if you choose to go at it alone, it's best that you are kind of a bit of a jack of all trades, that you can smell. I'm on camera, so I can't say that. If somebody pulls a fast one on you, whether it's a technical issue, whether it's a business issue, legal issue. So either you tap your advisors, or you have enough expertise to know that you got the right team. So it's more responsibility. It is kind of lonely at the top. But it could get lonely at the top even if you have 5 founders. In fact, it could get kind of very lonely even with 4 or 5, 3 founders. So because you're now part of it and you have to make it successful and drag everybody across the line if you have to, and that's just basically what happens. As you select your co-founder, it's important that you understand roles and responsibilities. Who's going to do what? Who's going to do what now, and who's going to do what later? Because it's not say, oh, I just came up with the idea, I'm a founder, I get 50% of the company. It's like, what? No, you got to actually work. You can't just come up with the idea. Because the idea is like a dime a dozen. Because you go on the internet and search for any topic, and I'll find 20 ideas for you. You have to execute, which means you have to have the people who either can manage a team, or hire people, or raise money. I mean, there's so much to do every day. And if you have more people that can do this, the better. They don't have to be founders. You can actually hire, a VP of engineering, a VP of marketing, a VP of and directors and managers. You can actually build this up other ways. But if you choose to get a founder, that's a huge responsibility. It's your company. It's your dollar. A founder can never think he's an employee. It is his money. When he raises money from the VCs, that's my dollar. Every dollar I spend is as if I just went out and spent it out of my pocket. Every piece of equity I dole out, it's out of my equity. It's my hide. So the easiest thing to do is to just split it 50-50. 4 founders, 25, 25, 25. But it is probably almost always the wrong answer, because there's just hardly the case that each founder is actually going to put the same amount of effort from day one, to the end of time. So the harder thing to do, and this involves really tough conversations, is to sit down, and I mean, I'm presenting a methodology that you may like, and first come up with a list of criteria, like what kind of areas need to be addressed to make this company successful and grow the pie. Assign weights to each criteria, and then take each of the founders and have a really tough conversation about, who's going to do how much of that criteria. So put a little table together here. These are just my categories, right? So for example, you could say, there's the idea that's worth, 10 points. I've got technology that's worth, 30 points. Business planning, leadership, addressing the sales and marketing and stuff like that. So, I took 100 points and I divided it up. And then I took 2 founders in this example, and for each area I have 10 points. So I split the 10 points between 2 founders. For the idea, let's say you both came up together, you talked, you had a lot of coffees at Starbucks, and this is the idea. And so you equally take credit, so later on, when there's interviews, you don't look like you're bigger than each other. That's great. But then, who's going to run the technical team? Probably one of you. You should get all the points. Who's going to really be the front person to raise the money, to talk to investors, to pull it all together? Probably the other guy. So switching to employees. So you won't be able to do it just with founders. We'd love to, but it can't be done. And you will start with 5 employees and go to 10, 20, 50, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. As public companies who are not even public now are just like insanely large.